welcome back with Ryan and Lisa on Our Healer, Our Protector. And today we are going to talk about what it really means to protect your peace. But you had a question to ask me.
Oh, I do have a question to ask you. Ryan, what is coming out June 3rd?
June 3rd, I think. June 3rd. It's not my birthday.
No.
It's not a holiday.
No, it is not.
Oh, yeah. My first book.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, God Only Knows When the Devil Comes for You, A Second Chance at Life. It'll be the first one in a series of 3, I think, right now from Our Protector Development. So as we have Our Healer and Our Protector here with Ryan and Lisa, we also have kind of our umbrellas of both of our businesses.
Yeah.
So Our Protector Development for me, and yours is Our Healer, Restoration.
Yeah.
So you're going to restore all of us.
Yes, I'm ready to restore you.
But before we get restored and before we actually get developed, well, I guess this is a little bit of both. We're going to focus on protecting that peace.
Oh, yeah. This is a hot topic.
I mean, we might as well just go deep right off the bat.
Okay, here we go. What are you coming up with?
Well, this is this aspect where we really get into, do you have to put up a barrier between you and someone else to protect your peace?
Yes. And no.
Yeah.
This is a tricky question. You guys will probably hear me say this a million times. I am a people pleaser that have gotten stronger to please myself before I say yes to people. I want peace. And Ryan, you've taught me this. You have been my protector for this from the day I met you. As a people pleaser, I'm always saying I'm sorry. What can I do for you? Yes, I'll be right over. People at work describe me as a golden retriever. Like, yes, I'm coming. Yes, where do you want me to go? I'll behave. Yes, I'll sit. Or a pit bull. So I've become a retriever. Ooh, that's going to be a new name.
That could be a new one.
Yes.
Watch out for it.
No, peace is setting up boundaries.
So this is the aspect I look at it, and I could never do this before. Pause. I mean, we have the play, we have the stop, but there's actually that little button on the remote. So if we can think about like our mind, I want to hit that pause button. I mean, I do it all the time now with Netflix, a Prime Video, whatever it is I'm watching, YouTube TV. And I love hitting that pause button, and just saying, I'm going to stop here, just going to leave it where it is, and we can come back to it later. And right. I know it's super hard for all of us. Like we have this aspect, we're in a conversation, might be somebody we love, might be somebody we obviously don't even really like, but to provide grace for everyone, like if you just pause, give it a second,
And don't feel like you have to answer right away.
That's the thing, you don't, because you're answering from emotion. And, just like we talked about in the last episode, what color are we? You're going to mirror whomever you're having that dialogue with. So like if they're, a red type of person in their personality, like that emotion obviously invokes anger. So like, if you're angry at them, like you're going to be all like, what's the show Inside Out with all the emotions? Like, and you're that little red dude that's like, wah, and fire's going out the top of his head. You're mirroring that back to the person that you're having that discussion. And if it's somebody you love, think about that. Like you're pushing them away. Don't push them away. Hit that pause button. Just say, give me a second. And all of a sudden, all that red, all that anger, just whatever you have inside of you turns to blue or green. It's calming. You're back to that normal, feeling that you have inside of yourself, that feeling that you love inside yourself. And, it's that aspect of then really then carrying that forward so you don't have this breakdown in your relationship. And I love it too, because it actually focuses you on, can you listen? And that's the problem though. Like, do we really want to listen to who we're talking to? Because we're so much more important, than whoever we're having this conversation with. And I think that's the piece we're talking about. It's that piece of saying, you know what, who I'm having this discussion with, they're more important than I am. And when you can do that, that's when you actually become like a real authority, because you don't know what I'm thinking if we're having some form of dialogue, whatever it may be. And I say something that triggers an emotion inside of you, and then I just keep going. Like, you're going to get defensive, right? You're either going to get backed into a corner to the point where you're going to,
Yeah.
come out, or you're just going to come out fighting, depending on what type of day you're having, right? So how do we do that? Like, how do we protect ourselves, And I think it's really through that aspect of the healing side of things, where you educate yourself, like talk about that side of it.
Oh, yes. Protecting yourself to find peace is to know how to heal. I did not know 17 months ago. I thought I knew that I'm like, oh, yeah, I've healed from that. I've got this. And we talked about triggers. Then triggers come up and you're like, oh, dang, I am not healed. But you know what's amazing? When you can heal, it brings you peace. Because when you heal, the triggers that come at you are in the back of your head. They're not in your mind. They're not in your heart. And they don't make you want to throw up. Yeah. Or be the little red guy with fire coming out. When you heal, you can find peace. And then you can find the right people in your life that want to be in your life. And when you've grown, you are going to grow without some people because they're not growing with you. So peace is healing. And you ask yourself, what does healing feel like? And how do I heal? It takes a lot of work. Of course, there's therapy. There is prayer.
Yes.
I have prayed so hard for healing. And you just always have to remember, too, in the healing process, to forgive yourself, because you were the person that you were at that moment, I'm thinking of like a hurtful time. To heal is to forgive, and then you ask yourself, how do I forgive a person that's hurt me so much? And you have to remember it wasn't you, and this is really hard. It was that person that hurt you, and they could only give you the most that they could possibly give you at that moment.
Isn't it an aspect of like just the boundaries you create within that relationship? I mean, like,
yeah,
like you can only give someone so much and they can only give you so much. And so if we're going to use like cups or whatever, like, I guess, right? Like you can have somebody that just overflows your cup and it's amazing, and maybe you abuse that. Or maybe there's somebody that only fills it, up, just a little bit. So then that's obviously not somebody probably part of your tribe. And, it could be a push-pull, I guess, when you really think about like how you take on that, But I always just think of the mirror aspect, because like, I know I don't have like deep down, I don't want to be that retriever, or whatever. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like both aspects. Well, no, actually, I take that back. I would want to be both, but I would really want to be, I'm more like Mayor Winston or whatever. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about some golden doodles here.
We love our golden
which
doodles.
they're kind of obviously squirrely as well, right? The retriever in them. But, cuddly, lovable, drive you crazy at times. But I think holistically speaking, there's peace in all of that once you understand it better. But is it through your emotional maturity, your emotional education, finding yourself? I mean, because we don't have it all figured out. Like, I mean, think about in high school and you're about to graduate and maybe go to college, or, at least leave the house, right? Or at least that's how things were 30 years ago. Maybe today kids stay in the house a little bit longer, but that's okay too. We're all finding ourselves, and, parents are allowing maybe enablement and so on and so forth. And not trying to get away from protecting our peace here, but understanding that it all has some relatable aspect to how we carry ourselves to others, and how maybe one person can be the one that causes us to be so dynamically unpeaceful, having zero joy, and both of these two things create happiness. But happiness isn't a house, isn't a car, really isn't a person even. No. It's this aspect of it. It's inside of us, right? It's like this little heart, right? Like it's who we really are that creates the I mean, I go back to it all the time, the faith, the hope, and the love that creates an amazing life. And that's different for everybody. Like, for you, it could be a little different, right? It could be, spiritual, which still would be like faith. Could be, that hope side of it is inspiration.
I think about peace and boundaries and healing and God. It all is a big circle. In order to find healing, you have to love yourself of the person who you are at that time, at this time. And if you know, it might be that you have to forgive yourself and tell that person and forgive them and tell them that you're sorry to help your healing. And sometimes you're never, ever going to get the answer you want from the person that hurt you. And that happens a lot.
Well, I think we always want words.
Yes.
We want the
affirmation.
The affirmation side of it. We want this aspect where people are going to tell us specifically, like, I want to apologize. I am sorry for how bad I hurt you. And we don't look at it from that aspect of the actions, the years, the just time and time again of like beating down that door. And it's like, actions speak louder than words. I'm sorry. And I was so naive to this because I believed, words meant something. I write. Okay. So it's that aspect. They should mean something. So I would always say words have meaning, no matter what you do, just like Bruce Lee always says, like, you spell words, so like when you end up saying things about yourself, you're creating spells. So witchcraft or whatever it may be, having this negative talk. And in that, like, we're not protecting our peace when we cast spells upon ourselves. Well, if our partners actually had that aspect of things, like when we do not see the actions because there are no words, like we need to look at, that's the mirroring aspect of either how we're treating them or they're treating us, one of the two. And in that, you feel it. I had more health issues when I was in a relationship that didn't have boundaries. And that is the good Lord saying, dude, I am literally trying to tell you, that you don't need the words, just look at what's happening in your body to the core. I was dying. And from that perspective, you have to realize this, like you have to be strong enough to stick up for yourself. And from that perspective, like you have to understand that, like, well, we talk about it's the merry-go-round, right?
Yeah, get off the merry-go-round.
Yeah, just put your foot, it's this easy. Just push your foot down so it stops. Mm-hmm. You might not be able to like get off of it because, you have children, with this person initially, or, you feel like, what am I going to do financially? Where am I going to live? All these changes, all these fears, and it's going to figure itself out. Look at us. Life changed pretty quickly over, days, weeks, maybe not even months, like in some of the ways. And we just have to make that decision to put our foot down. And in that, like once that foot's down, the merry-go-round might start to slow. Remember, as kids, it's like takes a minute, your shoes like bouncing on the ground and everything. And then it stops. And then you can get off of it. And, in that, it's actually that pause. Let your mind catch up to yourself. And that peace will just come and it'll grow every single day.
Yeah. So at the beginning, we were talking about how to bring peace into your life. What does peace feel like? Life is way too short to not have peace. So if you are in a spot that you're like, I am just not happy. I'm not liking my job. I'm not liking the relationship I'm in. I don't like how this family member is treating me. I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend that's always calling me and it's taking up a lot of my time and it's not doing anything good for me. You need to get off the merry-go-round and take your pause and figure out who you are, what your purpose in life is. And our purpose in life is to have love, to enjoy. We all need to make money, right? So we need to work. And this is another show to have, but you don't have to stay in your same job for 35 years. You can change it up as we are right now.
No, I mean, I think that's that aspect of it is where we're going to look at that pause could be just sleep. I mean, because you're running yourself ragged. As a nurse, I mean, 12-hour shifts. Sometimes you pick up 16-hour shifts.
That's exhausting.
It's a weekend, so it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe you get Monday off, and then you're back at it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have to, it goes back to the pause. I was just taking a pause. Get the rest, take a break. Like, go check yourself into, a Holiday Inn and spend a night, not in chaos. It's one of those things. And I'm not saying running away from the chaos, just saying
find your peace.
Yeah.
So like by going to a hotel or going on vacation, you know what, that peace, and you're like, gosh, why can't life always feel like a vacation? And actually, we're going to teach you how with some episodes coming up of what a life vacation can feel like, and doing the work and having the people in your life. And when you get up every day, you can be like, oh my gosh, I am so excited about today.
Yeah.
I get to live my life of purpose.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 days, think about it, I've been working the whole time, and it's been a vacation.
Yeah. And I want more.
Oh, absolutely. Sign me up.
Yeah, sign me up too.
And this is one thing, and you did hit it on the head, is what's the one thing you need to lovingly step away from to protect your peace?
I have to stop giving people what they think are expectations from me.
Because they're probably, there wasn't an ask or a task or anything else in it probably. There was probably somebody that you talk to, and maybe they are the person that asks for a lot. They're not doing it right now, but they've done it in the past.
Yeah.
So your first,
this is big for me.
aspect of it is what are they going to ask for? What do they need? And they probably don't. But for you just...
I have the expectations, what other people think that they want from me. And what I've been doing failing forward is stop giving people those expectations. If you are a giver, this is what we do. And I'm super excited because I'm learning how to still give, but give in my time, in my space, when I'm able to give my whole self. Because when I'm giving now isn't always giving because I'm rushed.
I think the other aspect that I would say, and this is a plug for Lisa, she's a life coach. So this is that aspect. And she has a lot of amazing friends. And they love to talk, like all girls, women, however we look at it. This is something that I think does need to be addressed. Is you have to be very cognizant of your time, because there isn't always the pause button we just talked about when it comes to your peace, because there is a clock. And if you break your day down, I like to do the 8, 8, and 8. So this doesn't really work out very well for Lisa because, the 8 hours of work, well, she shatters that every time she goes in the hospital.
Yes.
So she's into her second 8, which would be for me, the aspect of how my 8 works is I'll write for 4 hours. I will read for 4 hours. I will work out. And then I do some other meditation state things. And then the other aspect is the 8 hours of sleep. And so if you have that same aspect that Lisa does, you have to be very cognizant of the time that you give others. And I acknowledge this, we have mothers, fathers, the time that it takes to be those with your children. And, but you have to be cognizant of each other's time as well and say, I will take the kids so you can have some time back.
Yes.
And vice versa. And this goes for everything we do. Walking the dogs, it's this aspect of hey, would you take May today for me so I can get in an extra hour at, this? Whatever that looks like, all I'm doing is asking for help. And it's that simple. And so to get back at that, for Lisa here, she does it with her friends now. As soon as I think everyone starts to repeat themselves, my grandpa's really good at this back in the day. I think it was like after 2 minutes, we all start to repeat ourselves. And so you give your friends probably a little less time, but you've already told them that, right?
Yeah. Okay, you've said that 3 times. So now what are you going to do?
That's the aspect. I mean, I think we look at for everybody and say, what you can pause right now. We'll hit the pause and say, hey, what are you going to do? Like, what do you want to do to be that change? You know, for me, it's that fighting for your purpose, the war of purpose. It's that I play on words of being a soldier. And now every day I fight for my life, not in such a way that I'm like going to lose it or whatever, but it's worth fighting for. The life that we get to have today is this aspect of like, I know I want to be a better person for everybody else, but it starts with myself.
And I want to fight for people to find their healing. I want to fight for my healing. And the only person that's fighting is yourself, and allowing yourself to know how to heal, how to work on that. And you and I together, we're going to show people how to protect yourself, how to heal yourself, and what that feels like.
I mean, that's that aspect of peace isn't passive. You know, it's that you got to practice it every single day.
You got to have passion for yourself.
Yes. You know, and that comes with the compassion of like giving it to others, you know. So like if we can't give others grace, we probably aren't ever giving ourselves grace either. So then it does come back to ourselves. And, you know, as we close this one out, you know, it's that aspect of like making sure that we invite more of God's presence into our life, you know. And I know that's hard. And what does that look like? And we'll get after that in future episodes, because I know it takes us all time to have that connection with God back in our life. It took me a number of months when I started sobering up. And there's some tools out there that we have.
Yeah. So our healer, our protector, check us out, Reichert and Lisa Sander.
Love you guys.
Bye.